We are live. Welcome to our Stephenville Town Council public meeting for today, Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. I'd like to welcome all council around the table. We have a full complement of our full forum today. We also have our management team, and we do have guests in our gallery. We have Mr. Brian Berger and Laura White. Welcome to the Stephenville Chambers. We have 7 attendees on via our electronic media through various streams. Welcome to the town of Stephenville. For those of you that may not be in Stephenville today, it is a beautiful day, sunshine, and we always like to boast West Coast, best coast, and also maybe Stephenville being the best part of the best coast. Let's say that. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. I would ask a member of council that we bring the meeting to order. It is 12:04 p.m. Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder. Second, Councilor Tom O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item number 2, we always are cognizant of our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the town of Stephenville as the ancestral homeland of different populations of indigenous people. We also acknowledge with respect the rich histories and cultures of the Yaqtik, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Item number 3, as circulated by our town clerk, I would ask a member of council that we move and accept the agenda as circulated.
I so moved.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder. Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, item number 4. It will be the minutes that were circulated by management and staff from our previous meeting 2 weeks ago on May the 9th. Be it resolved to approve the public meeting of council minutes dating May 9th, 2024 as circulated. Ask the council to move that we adopt. Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder.
Seconded.
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Carried. Okay, item number 5. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? No matters arising. Okay, I'd also like to note item number 6 for proclamations and delegations. We don't have any in, but we'd like to recognize that May 19th to May 25th is National Public Works Week. As you well know, in this community and the 256 municipalities in Newfoundland and Labrador, our public workers go out to work every day. A lot of them are on call 24/7 in the event of breaks in water lines, sewer lines, and they're to be commended. Often they have to go out in some pretty hazardous conditions, especially in our winter operations. They are out keeping our roads cleared, keeping our town clean, keeping our water safe. So many elements that they play in the town of Stephenville, from fixing potholes to assisting with storm drain cleaning, hydrant flushing, you name it. So we'd like to recognize the good work and the professionalism of our own Public Works Committee. And we don't have a big employee. We probably have about less than 20 in our Public Works, but we do have a big town. We have over 100 kilometers of water lines and close to 100 kilometers of sewer lines. So when you take that in perspective, it's a big piece of infrastructure that our Public Works are responsible for. And we are grateful for that. Also, item number 2 and 6.2 is May 19th to May 25th is National Paramedic Services Week. Similar type of organization, but when they respond, people are in real trouble, and they're to be commended. It is a very, very challenging job, and from the impact of PTSD and so forth, it is a very, very challenging job. And every time I see them, I just got to kind of recognize how valuable they are. And it takes a very strong person to take on that profession. And it truly is a profession. Okay, item number 7 is a committee reports. And I'm going to turn it over to our Chair of Finance, Councilor Myra White, for 7.1. Take it away, Councilor.
You and good morning and welcome everyone. 7.1, Finance Committee. Finance Committee met on May 21st, 2024, and the following items are recommended for council approval. And be it resolved to pay accounts payable for May 23rd, 2024 in the amount of $152,882.43. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councilor Darren Roberts.
Mr. Mayor, as a member of the Finance Committee, just to break down the $152,000 number, just some of the larger ones. It's $11,131.74 here for Avidas Environmental, which is the maintenance contract on our wastewater system. $3,616 for Agatuna drafting. That's the engineering in Russell Heights. It's going to be done this summer. It's $2,794 for all North consultants. That's the engineering on Main Street, which is going to be a very sizable project once it gets started later this summer, and we'll need it. The $3,450 for Callahan's contract, we just repairs here at the town hall. A monthly reoccurring one that is contaminated sanitation, which is their curbside collection, $24,661.95. I mean, that's a fairly constant monthly charge. So when you do that over 12 months a year, I mean, you're upwards of $300,000. So when we put the garbage to the road, we're not taking $300,000. We're just taking a little bit of the bag of garbage. It's ELT contracting, $3,270, which is equipment hire. From time to time, we have to hire extra equipment to get the work done at Public Works. Harvey Company, $2,731. Vehicle repairs and parts, $2,300 for lawn and fire, which is fertilizer net for the fields that we got in town. A sizable reoccurring one each month certainly is the gas and fuel. The operation down $16,172. Again, on the equipment repairs on this equipment, $41.57. We get $11,509.82 for Storm and Calvary, which is the leak legal fees. TNT sales here now again, equipment repairs $3,458, and another equipment repair one for parts $5,646. So that's just some of the larger ones.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 2, Property and Collection Officers Report. A, be it resolved to approve property tax write-off in the amount of $883.26. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number B, be it resolved to approve adjustments to water and sewer tax in the amount of $1,408.42. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second by Councilor Laurie Over. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item C, be it resolved to approve remission of tax in the amount of $864.88. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item D, be it resolved to approve business tax write-offs in the amount of $2,410.71 and adjustments of $4,694.55. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3 is request for proposal at 137 Carolina Avenue. Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville issue a request for proposal for a parcel of land located at 137 Carolina Avenue. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second by Councilor Tom O'Brien. All in favor? Carried.
Item 4, a request for grant, Can-Am Lodge. Be it resolved to approve a grant in the amount of $4,841.50 to the Can-Am Lodge. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. Question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what some of the discussion was around approving this grant. And only because, I see us as providing support to community groups and organizations. And this, my understanding of the Ann Lodge is it's a membership group, not a public group. And therefore, if we make this decision, are we going to start providing grants to other service groups as well, like the Knights of Columbus and the, anyone else? Now I could be wrong, but my understanding is that there's a kind of a membership process to get into the Can-Am Lodge, and it's not for everybody. It's
It is, anyone can join. Yes. The Masonic Lodge. They can apply to, anyone can apply to get to Masonic Lodge.
okay, so the Masonic Lodge, so it has changed then in
Yes.
terms of all the things.
Yeah.
So it's now a public thing.
Yes.
Everyone, yeah.
But it is men only.
Pardon me?
It is men only.
Exactly, so that's not everyone. I just want to kind of make that point. Sometimes they used to let women go downstairs, but not all.
But they do have another fraternal organization for women that's associated as well.
Right. So I'm just, I'll vote for it. It seems to me that we're opening ourselves up to less public entities now and into more insular.
Yeah, in some of the discussion that we had at finance, the Masonic Lodge, the Masons, and the Shriners, which support the Shriners Hospital, and there has been children from this community that go to the Shriners Hospitals sponsored through down here. It's they're an organization like anybody can. The men can join the Masons, then just the other organization within that for the women. So that was part of our discussion the other day at finance. Whereas and in addition to that, we have helped some of the other groups down like the Lions Club and so on and so forth in years gone by. So that was the logic.
We did have a long discussion over it, and we decided that your vote, it's entirely up to each individual person what they're getting from this.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Stephenville, I just turned, if the one thing that was discussed too was it's a water and sewer repair. And we have a lot of data and information from Public Works that we have a lot of water leaks in the town. So anytime we're enhancing, like all the work we're going to be doing on Main Street, Russell and Rose Avenue, and all the streets fire, every year we do upgrades to water and sewer. But every time that we can look at upgrading water and sewer line, it kind of mitigates any, and we might find that maybe there was a leak, So if they're having a problem, what is the problem? Is it backing up? Is there a leak? So that kind of helped from a public works perspective too. I think we had some discussion.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it goes back 42 years ago now. Like the water shut off, the curb stops, as to refer to it. A lot of them were in closer to buildings, residents, and that type of thing. And the town adopted a policy anytime that there was problems on the line, the town would go in and fix the line and move the curb stop out to the property line. Then the property owner would become responsible for the curb stop in.
Right.
In this case here, the Can-Am Lodge is going to take on the work to do the repairs to the line and that type of thing. And then from the curb stop in, it's going to be their responsibility on a go-forward basis.
So if we've done that before, would we not go in and move their curb stop if that's what this is for?
But they also got a sewer problem, so they're going to solve it all at one time.
Okay.
Okay, so we have some discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Contramine? Noted. One contramine. Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler. Carry.
Item number 5 is the MOU with Stephenville Diamond International Airport. Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville Council signed memorandum of understanding with the Stephenville Diamond International Airport for emergency response services. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconded.
Second.
Second, Councilor Devon. Question?
I'll just say in relation to this, it's good to see that we got an MOU signed now, which there no cost to the town of Stephenville to provide the fire protection to the airport. When it comes to the structures, the buildings and stuff, we our regular fire department would be responsible for that. Anyway, this MOU basically really covers fire protection on the air side, basically inside the fence for aircraft and then coming in. So I mean, it's not bad for the town anymore. It's certainly a good deal for the airport. I mean, it will save the airport considerable dollars because they don't have to have their own HR resources. So you mean it's good on a go-forward basis, and it's good to see we're finally putting it to bed once and for all.
All in favor?
Aye. Item number 6, be it resolved that the town of Stephenville purchase 40 trees in the amount of $6,000, including shipping, to be planted by the beautification committee. I so move.
I'd like for the beautiful town too. Is that in the motion?
Beautiful.
There.
We don't need to tell anybody that. They already
I
know.
think we are clear. We have a motion, seconded by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Just to say, that's to replace dying and damaged trees that we've done over years.
And they were planted 30 years ago.
And I have to say, I have to commend the beautification committee. We have some new additional members that have joined. And it's always nice to get some new blood in these organizations with new energy, new ideas. And we're actually seeing the fruits of our labor with this committee, getting some work that hasn't been done over the past. So congratulations to Councillor Laura Aylward and her committee. Okay.
That's all on my agenda for today.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to our trusted Councillor Laura Aylward for chairing our planning and traffic agenda.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and welcome everybody and the people online. How many do we have today?
19.
19, that's good. The Planning and Traffic Committee met on May 21st, 2024, and the following items are recommended for council approval. Permits. Be it resolved that the following permits be approved as presented. Applicable permits will require inspections, licenses, and permits as required by Service NL and the town of Stephenville, for sure. 3840 Main Street, construct a fast food restaurant with drive-through. Now, I guess, Jennifer, do I read them all separate? Yes? Okay.
One more.
You can read them all out in just one motion.
Okay, yeah, all right. 64 Willowdale Drive is construct porch and replace deck.
6A.
Oh, 6A. Look. I don't. I just had a new home, yeah.
I guess the town's expanding pretty fast.
Yeah. 6A, Willowdale Drive to construct porch and replace deck. 2628 Main Street, roadside vendor, 1 year. 83A Main Street, replace staircase and deck. 5761 Main Street, replace shingles, exterior maintenance. 70 Henson Highway, construct accessory building, 40 by 50. 171 Queen Street, subdivide into 2 parcels of land to be named 171 and 171-1. 79 Colebrook Road, subdivide into 2 parcels of land, alter existing structure for residential dwelling. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Laura Aylward, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Maurice Hines, all in favor? Carried.
Number 8 is bylaws and regulations. Item 1, policy, town hall, visitors policy. Be it resolved to adopt town hall visitors policy as presented. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Edwards, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Myra White. Question?
Mr. Mayor, I've got to say that I'm totally against the town hall visitor policy. I mean, the town was incorporated in 1952 and up to now, or up to the most recent by-election, the town didn't need such a policy. In my opinion, this policy would restrict myself as a member of council in doing what I was elected to do. And it's almost like a policy designed to be restrictive and to contain people. So I mean, that's my views on it. I'm totally against it.
Okay, thank you very much for those comments, Councilor O'Brien. Deputy Mayor Susan Bell.
I just want to say, and Councilor O'Brien said up until by-election we didn't need, I would suggest we didn't have would be a better way of saying it. I'm not sure that we didn't need it. I think it was recognized by previous council that we did need it, in fact, and that it would provide a little bit of a framework so that our staff particularly would be able to get through what they're able to get through without interruptions that sometimes take them way off track. I don't think it's restrictive at all. There's nothing in the policy that suggests that people cannot come into the office. What it does do, though, is I think encourage us. Well, I guess that's the council one, but as councillors particularly to follow the direction that we're giving them in this lab, is to create policy to ensure that policy works for the town and stay out of the operational side of things. And I think sometimes we get that mixed up, and this is a great guide to people.
I just like to speak just a little bit to it. You know, times are changing when it comes to the framework of legislation that's coming down from municipal affairs. And come January 1, there's some additional framework and legislation that's being passed. But clearly, the municipal handbook has a framework that we should be following. And this basically just goes hand in hand, that kind of identifies that council, we're the executive body of council. And it doesn't restrict any councilor from coming here, checking their mailbox, coming in to say a quick hello while they're checking their mailbox. But it really, if there's work that has to be done, if it's urgent, of an urgent nature, as councilors, myself included, we would go to the upper management and try to query that. If it's not urgent, it would get communicated via email, and it would go on a planning meeting. If it's a planning item, it would be on a finance item. But it's really respectful to management and their subordinates to have a framework existing that the operation of the town works as efficient as possible. And we as council don't have full reign to be able to pop in and tie up offices without some sort of order. So I think it's changing a little bit, but it's changing for the better. And I think there's no big restriction on us as councillors. It's just saying that there's only certain things we should be coming into the office for, and that's it.
Mr. Mayor?
Councillor Hines?
Yes. No, I feel that we're implementing a policy that doesn't make the town hall welcoming. I think this belongs to the residents, belongs to the citizens. And now we're going to put in a policy that, well, we wouldn't put a policy in if we didn't want them to follow. Okay, so I'm voting in. I really feel I can support that as it is. And I feel that the town is never really lined up out there. And I think most of the councillors are respectful. So now we're bringing a policy that doesn't really need to be there. And right away, by the set time, we're saying the town hall visitors policy, right away that rings of restrictions. either perceived or real.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hines. Any other councillors?
Well, I think it's been explained very well, and I'd like the general public also to be noticed or notified with regard to what we're saying here today, that this is not to restrict anybody from coming in. Really, it's just that we just don't want people coming in and interfering with the day-to-day work of what the town is doing. Because if someone comes in just for a chat, it's not going to be 5 minutes, it's going to be an hour. But someone's coming in to do business with the town, it'll take about 5 or 10 minutes. There's a little bit of difference, so we really like to let them know this is not that kind of restriction that we're saying nobody can.
Councillor Roberts.
This is, I think it deserves a third crack at it, and my view of it still don't change onto it. If you got to explain what this policy means, it's not a good policy. I still feel that through just looking at the policy itself, I still feel restricted on contacting any staff information I need. I contacted all organizations and towns and everything else about this type of policy. No, we encourage hands off nosing, and that's all policy or guideline of good governance. You don't tell staff what to do, but you entitle information, so you're making an informed and educated decision around the table.
But this,
Again, you're going to try to explain the policy to me. If you got to explain the policy to me, it's not a good policy because I don't understand it by exact reading.
this is a working environment as well, like a working environment. It's a whole it's just not like you are having a board meeting or that kind of things or volunteering things. This is the workplace for the employees who like to do their jobs.
Okay, anything, Councillor Aylward?
Well, to be honest, I don't like the policy. I really don't. And I feel that I have to agree with Councillor Roberts that some policies are fine, but other policies are not so good. And I believe that people will think that they are welcome here. And as for people coming in and out, like, it's very broad, and it's not really clear, really, because especially like some new councillors, they might figure, well, what do you mean? I can't greet somebody, or I can't say how you doing today, or what's going on down in your department? Are you doing okay? How are the roads this winter, and that kind of stuff. Some of these young new councillors might feel that way. So I have to say that I cannot support the policy.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Susan Ballard.
Trying now to kind of calmly formulate something here. I think it's really important for those who are listening and may take away a message that from this discussion, that this town hall visitors thing is all about visitors and restricting visitation. This town hall is a business place owned by the taxpayers to come and do the business of the town. There's nothing here about a business policy. And there's nothing here that suggests that anybody from the public that wants to come into the front desk and ask a question or do their stuff needs to do it. The policy is much more detailed than that, and it's about things like creating an opportunity where if I want to come in, I don't come in and interrupt and say, can you tell me this and this? But I actually just make an appointment. Can I drop by in 20 minutes? Can I drop by at 10 o'clock and discuss this, so that the person who I'm dropping by to see has the opportunity to gather what's needed to be gathered and to finish what perhaps they're doing. Because even though we're not supposed to, and we aren't the bosses of anybody here, there is still that kind of unspoken thing where when a counselor comes in and asks a staff member for something, that staff member's in a precarious position then, because they feel like, well, maybe I'm supposed to be doing that for them, but I'm also supposed to be getting this done because that's what I was told to do today. And now they're having to try to figure things out. The other thing is, this policy, as it reads, may be difficult for some of us to see as necessary because we aren't maybe the people who need this policy. But as somebody, you know, who's been sitting here for quite a while now, trying to suggest that we follow the protocols that are outlined in the municipal handbook for counselors, and watching that not happen and saying it over and over to people, you know, perhaps this was an attempt to have some kind of guideline that maybe would hold somebody accountable to what it is we're supposed to be doing. Anyway, that's it.
Okay,
So to the policy, which was initiated by management, we now have a clear read, and we've also educated all of us on the issue. I think it's much better understood. There's a concern that the municipal handbook items were possibly not being followed as well as the intended way that the municipal handbook is read, is written. And considering the word around the table, maybe we haven't done a good enough job on delineating exactly what's needed in the wording of the policy. So,
What to say?
So,
Vote change.
but on that basis, we could withdraw the request for the policy based on whatever council decides. I don't think it would do us any good to have a motion or a resolution like this go down and be defeated, although that's ultimately up to council how they want to deal with it. But anyway.
Mr. Mayor,
Susan Powell, did you?
I don't see a difference between defeated and withdrawing it because of the discussion.
Mayor,
Yeah, I'll let Councilor Bryan one more time.
okay, I mean, a wise person once said the bad policy is worse than no policy, and I certainly think this is a bad policy. When it comes to visitors at town hall, you're talking to two groups of people. One, you're talking to, in this policy, you're talking to members of council, and then the business people and residents of the community. Anytime anybody from the business or the community comes into town hall now, they can only get to the lobby. They can't get in where staff is doing. They come to the front desk like they have since the incorporation of 1952. When, if they want to see the town manager or tax collector or whoever they want to see in town hall, they came to the front desk and they said, can I see the town manager? Can I see the tax collector? They may not even know who the manager or the tax collector was. First on the front desk, we check to see if they're available. If they're available, that person got to see who they were. If they were not available, they were told, not available, well, I'll come back later. Or they tried to make an appointment. That's been done since incorporation in 1952. When it comes to including council members in this policy, I served 3 terms as a councilor. I served 3 terms as mayor. Now I'm back as councilor again. So I guess I can say I'm in my 7th term. I've made many trips to town hall. At no time did I consider myself a visitor to town hall. I considered myself a representative of the residents that voted us into office. If they asked me to check something out, I certainly attended town hall and checked it out. When it comes to saying interfering with staff, yes, you've heard me preach before. We as members of council cannot direct staff to do anything. And under notion of the motion, which the notice of motions are going to come up today, it's quite clear in that I gave all that in writing to all of council members approximately a month and a half ago. So I mean, it's one's interpretation of interfering. If you're checking something out for a resident or a business person in town, you come in, you ask the appropriate person, I got this question, I've had this inquiry, you mean, what is the answer? To me, that's not interfering with staff's duty. We all have to remember, as members of council, members of management, members of staff, we are here to serve the people to pay the bills. And this policy is restrictive as far as I'm concerned. It's a bad policy. So as the wise person once said, the bad policy is exactly that, a bad policy. So.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I agree with what Mr. Bill Ramsey said about this a few minutes ago. It's all right to Councillor Fowler to say, go on and explain it, and this is what it is, and blah, this kind of stuff. But the general population around here, they're going to hear today when this meeting is over, and especially the ones that go online. Well, now that's pretty good, you know. We're not allowed to go into council anymore, you know. I can hear it now. I can hear it now. Been around, Mr. Mayor, been around too long. I can hear it now. Can't even go in town office now, you know, boys. That's what's going to happen, you know.
Yeah, that's what it'll be.
Well, they probably say that too, but the problem is, I've thought about this a lot. I've been around a lot. I've seen policies. I've seen them in the healthcare system and other places, and some of them are good for nothing, to be honest with you. Not saying this one's not, and there's a lot of work went into it. But I still feel, after thinking it over, that as councillors, we have a right to come into this council office. We don't have a right to tell staff what to do. No, that's true. But we have a right. If I want to come in and say to Jennifer, now I'm bringing in you a yogurt today or whatever, I'm going to be coming in, or things like that. And I don't want it to be seen as being interfering with the staff. So all I got to say is that I cannot support the motion.
Weird. Policy doesn't say you can't come in and bring Jennifer a yogurt.
Well, that's that's a little bit much, but you know.
Sometimes overrides some of the, you know. Anyway, I gotta shut up.
Yeah. Well, anyway, okay.
I'm just going to make just one final comment. So clearly, when people come to the town office, they come during our normal working hours, and it's posted. They can come in and ask to see the mayor, if I'm here, or the CAO, the tax collector. Nothing's changed. All this policy does is reinforce and communicate that if you call and make an appointment, there's a greater opportunity for you to have that meeting, because if you just walk in the door for the general public, what if the CAO is not in town? What if the mayor's not in the office? It just clearly communicates on that side of the equation. What this policy also tried to put in place was, even for council, remember, we're the executive council, and we're all elected by the people to serve the people. Serve the people, we still have to follow the parameters and the guidelines of the municipal handbook and municipal affairs, what they're saying. What they're saying, we shouldn't be involved in day-to-day operations. That's why we have planning meetings, finance meetings, communication. We advance files that we want spoken on by management and staff prior to our meetings. We have time bars that we're going to be talking about. There's a reason for that. It gives appropriation to those departments to have time to be prepared for council's questioning at a planning or a finance meeting. What this policy is basically trying to get us to act as a professional executive of council, where we set policy and direction, that we should not, 7 of us should not be able to walk through that door. We can walk through that door 24/7. We got the codes, check our mailbox, have a coffee. We have that right. We shouldn't have the right to 7 of us just come in without upper management knowing, going in, sitting down, demanding stuff from department heads or management and staff. Because what that will do is interfere. That's not our job. Our job, we're the executive, we're the council. We have planning, finance. If an emergency happens or something of pressing nature and you can't reach the clerk or the CAO or the deputy CAO, using a bit of common sense, you'd come in and say, I wonder, is the tax collector here? or I wonder if the director of public works, I gotta speak to him. But what we've seen is too much of council coming in and spending time with staff. What this policy is trying to do is have us as a more of a professional entity. So on that note, I'm gonna call for the vote. So we have a motion, we have a seconder. Can we clearly identify who, it's been a while since we had some discussion. It was moved by,
I moved it.
moved by
Chair. Yeah,
Councilor Edwards and second by Deputy Mayor.
yeah.
Memory, Darren Roberts.
Might be long, but I
You know
remember.
what? I think.
No,
Barbara.
second.
Myra, okay, yes, you guys were really close there, but we had.
Oh, that's right. I put my hand up. That's right.
Like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a good memory, but I'm wrong.
So we have a motion, we have a seconder. All in favor of the policy?
Aye.
Contramine?
All right.
Motion defeated. Sorry.
The rest.
So
Yes.
just for, I just want to, I guess, close off by really reiterating what the intent of the policy was. And just so that nobody really walks away thinking it's something that it wasn't. And just first of all, I'm very respectful of the decision that's been made by council. Ultimately, whatever comes before you is a decision of council, and we have to respect that, which I do. But I just want to bring clarity to exactly what was meant by the policy, and just to reiterate that the policy isn't about discouraging public engagement with the town hall. It's quite the opposite. We wanted to make sure that everyone can still come by in person when they need immediate help. Our front desk staff, especially our administrative assistant, will always be there to listen and assist. If something needed a bit more attention, they're ready to bring in other staff or management to help right away. And of course, in emergencies, we'll always act promptly and make those our top priority. Providing friendly and efficient customer service is something we're committed to, and we'll keep focusing on. The main aim of the policy is just to keep day-to-day disruptions to a minimum so that our staff can stay focused on their responsibilities. We're trying to avoid the kind of unexpected visits that can throw off an entire day's schedule. This can make it hard for our team to meet other important deadlines and commitments. Sometimes staff receive requests that require some preparation to address properly. This policy will help to ensure they have the necessary time to prepare and respond effectively. We hope that the policy will be seen as a courteous way to manage our time better, not as something harsh or unwelcome. We're also fully committed to keeping the council feeling welcomed and comfortable here. It's important to us that everyone feels they can still engage with us effectively within this new framework. And just to add to that, we've been discussing this right back about a month ago. April 25th was the date of the response that I gave, further explaining the policy. And when we explained it in our first committee meeting, in the first draft, we all agreed that, maybe the policy is a good one, but we need to soften it up a little bit. So I went back and did draft number 2. And then in our committee meetings, I had my laptop ready to go to make any changes that council collectively wanted to make in order to create a policy that everybody was good with in respect of the collaboration that we would all do. And nobody really participated in that. So, we didn't achieve a collaborated version of
Nobody participated in what?
in our committee meetings, when I have my laptop ready for us to be able to edit the second draft of the policy in its softened version. We never got a chance to collaborate on that. And I brought it to 2 committee meetings. So we didn't have a chance to collaborate effectively on that.
Well,
Even though I had hoped to do that.
I think I was quite clear at the committee levels
They usually
that
like
all the way
policy.
through that I was in total disagreement with the policy.
Yes.
And stated my reasons like I stated today.
That's correct,
Okay.
but I did have direction that we would be amending the first draft and softening up a little bit, which is what I did. And I also came prepared with my laptop to make any additional edits during the committee meetings, with the hope that we would all collaborate. So I just wanted to end it there, just to let you know, the work that went into it and what the actual intent was. But I do respect the decision of council too. But
And I have to commend staff for the work that they put in on trying to draft policy for the alignment with the municipal affairs. So
And
thank you
it
very much.
depends on how you operationalize things, you can do, yes, in many ways. Not the least of which it's asking your staff to book meetings when people are coming in and interfering. Like if they're in the middle of something, that they have the right to say to all of us, sorry, I can't do that right now. So,
Well, you mean, I've already said to staff and when I was re-elected in March, I said to staff, if I ask you a question, don't feel pressured that you gotta stop everything and get me the answer. I mean, when you get time to address it, let me know, give me the information. I mean, I would think, and the mayor referenced this a few minutes ago. I mean, you can't have people coming in demanding the answers from staff. I don't think we should, as members of council, we should be demanding anything from staff or pulling rank on staff. If we have a question that we're trying to represent the people that elected us, the residents of the community, ask the staff member a question. Anytime I come in to ask a staff member a question, and the most recent times, I mean, if the CAO's door is open or the assistant CAO or CAO's door is open, I'll say, I'm here, I need to see Matt, and go see Matt or Mark or whatever staff member I know is responsible for my own work. We shouldn't be demanding anything. We shouldn't be putting stress on staff. And I always ask the staff member when folks are, do you have a minute? If they're on doing something time sensitive, they have no, they're all professionals. They have no problem in saying, well, I'm doing something time sensitive now. Can you come back in an hour?
Before we move to the next item, I just want to clearly say for all council around the table, including myself, if you want a question, you don't need to come into the office, burn fuel, carbon footprint, send an email. Then it gives staff appropriate time. You don't need to be coming in, stepping into staff members' offices when something that could be handled with an email or a text or.
copy to CAO, because if I read an answer question on the Public Works Department,
You like email?
if I ask a question to the Public Works Department person and they answer that question and some action is taken as a result of that, somebody, all kinds of things could happen, and we've got CAO or the deputy CAO not knowing what's happening, and that has been happening. So maybe things are taking a better swing, and that's great, but a lot of this stuff was an attempt to mitigate and create a better environment for staff who were very clear about how they felt and the stress that they felt that they were under. So it's not that the by-election changed the water on the beans either, but this is a process that we've been working on for a while, and to suggest that people are quite comfortable saying, no, I think you're wrong in some cases. I think some people there's a sense of power, there's a power thing. And you can say what you want, but if you work here and a council member comes in, there's a perceived power balance there that very often puts someone under pressure. And not everybody is comfortable saying, no, I'm not going to deal with that right now, or please, you stop coming in and asking me questions. Would you please, whatever. So I think many people are comfortable saying that. Not everyone is assertive like that. And I think, if we can do something to ease that for somebody, we should be doing it.
If I may, okay, Councilor, right on.
I think that everyone here sitting at this table has a cell phone. You can be into the parking lot and call in. You can be downtown anywhere, except for Darren. Doesn't have a cell phone.
Thank you, Councilor.
So my thing is, the majority of people in this world today do nothing other than use that phone for a purpose. And it's to get through the day, to answer questions, or to find out what they need to know. So I think that it's not like in the olden days when you had to drive up here to get an answer, or you were passing by and you couldn't get anything in the email because there was no such thing. So, there's a lot of things to be said about why we're moving ahead.
The last part, I think of a policy is coming in because a problem's been identified. And I really appreciate what the staff does. CAO, deputy CAO sees my emails, saw the list of things I had the other day, and I appreciate them answering. So I didn't perceive it to be a problem. So if it's not a problem, then why are we sort of acting like it is?
Because there's been a problem.
There's been problems.
There's been a problem.
Okay.
That's why this policy's happened.
Okay.
Or attempted to happen.
And it.
But it got defeated,
Yep.
and it is what it is.
Respect.
Please.
So I'll turn it back to our chair of planning and
Pardon?
travel.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, we're in bylaws.
The bylaws and
Oh, sorry.
regulations.
Okay,
Regulations.
that's me. Sorry.
That's your-
That's all about me right
You
now.
need another chocolate.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you saying? We're supposed to be
That,
No, it's not
that
you,
was
it's Tom.
planning.
It's there, I
going to number 2,
Oh, we're gonna go to,
policy
yeah,
committee and council meetings. That's what-
category 8, policy number 2, with this committee and council meetings be it resolved, we adopt committee and council meeting policy as presented. And that refers to our structural processes around our finance and planning committee meetings and public meetings for information. So can I ask somebody to move?
Second. Oh.
I'm supposed to be moving that motion, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
yes.
Anyone move?
No, the bylaws and regulations under my category.
planning.
Oh,
Yeah.
I read the first one.
Clarify.
We know, we know.
I'm telling you, you got me totally confused now.
He wants to
Be it resolved to adopt the committee and council meeting policy as presented. Second Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carry.
Well, it's like this, Mr. Mayor, there's going to be a field day over there with some of those naysayers, not the people online, mind you, but certain people. Going to be a field day now about
But it'll give them something to do.
yeah, I
There we
know,
go.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but that's okay. We don't mind these people. Okay, so
So we're,
that's all I have for planning.
okay. Thank you very much. Okay, item number 9, unfinished business. Any councilors?
Yeah, under unfinished business, you mean in the accounts payable, they was over $11,000 in legal fees. We asked if we could get an update on how many legal files we have on the going status of each file. And I guess some of those legal fees has to do with code of conduct. I mean, how many active code of conducts we have on the go at the present time, and we're status of
We'll
this.
turn that over to our CAO.
Yeah, I spoke with our primary legal consultant this morning, he and I and our deputy will be having a meeting Wednesday of next week to go over all of the files, get a status update that we'll bring back to council. So, so we have various council that are housed in St. John's. We have with one law firm, another law firm we have that's handling some legal sale matters for us. And we have counsel here in town that we use for various other files. So those are the 3 primary areas that are currently being worked on. And I should have a report back to council for the next few committee meetings for the week after next.
Mr. Mayor, just I guess 2 things. Looking at the new Flan Wire, and a while ago we were talking about, never saw very much about Stephenville in there. And there's 2 really good articles. One to congratulate Debbie Bolton on her 30 years of running a video shop. Okay, and not only does she do that, any nonprofit charitable group wants tickets to be sold, Debbie takes care of it. Does a great job, and just congratulate her on that. It's a great article in your honor. And the other one is Lady Nancy Cormier. She helped with the cleanup. Okay, yes, at the beach.
Pearson, Nancy
Okay.
Pearson.
And so it was a really good job to see all the citizens come together and keep the place clean. So really 2 good articles about people in Stephenville.
You know, one other thing I had under unfinished business that we certainly want the big congratulations to Katerina Robson. I mean, she's the first lady to qualify for the 5th time for the Paralympics. I mean, which is her career is certainly outstanding. I mean, I had the opportunity back when I was the mayor that I was introducing her, and I mean the last part of the introduction was everything that she accomplished during her career. So, I mean, she trains at our local regional aquatic center, which is.
And in our Y as well. when she's
Y.
doing her-
Yeah.
That's kind of a boasting for ourselves, and she trains right here in town, so.
She's definitely got a lot of stamina. When you can do it for six, get to pre-trials and then qualify for the Olympics 6 times, that is an amazing achievement. So she's to be commended.
Yes, I had her on my list. Yeah. I agree with
Okay.
Councillor O'Brien because I had her on my list as well.
Well, I've got a couple of things.
Yeah, and I do too, yeah.
Under new business too. So basically, we're planning a community cleanup day. So, we have a lot of great citizens that keep their own properties clean, keep their businesses upgraded. But we have some greater citizens that go into our public spaces and clean up. And our public works have actually done a phenomenal job recognizing them. They'll often have the pickup machine, gloves, that if they ever see anybody going around, they'll stop and give them the machine to help them from stooping down too much. So I have to commend Public Works, and we're coming into Public Works Week, so that's a wonderful thing. But we're going to be organizing a community cleanup day. And you don't have to drive very many places in this town to see litter. And litter is everybody's responsibility. I've often said that even our own Public Works, when they're driving for their coffee or driving back from their coffee, if they see some litter, stop and pick it up. And that goes with council, staff, citizens. So we're working towards our community cleanup day. This event will include incentives and fun activities for everyone. So you get to clean up the environment, but you get to have a little bit of fun. We have a very creative team and our staff that have come up with some great ideas. But for everyone who participates in cleaning up debris along our roadways. So it's along our roadways, it's ditches, it's green spaces, it's areas touching our industrial zones. It's everywhere you can see garbage, we need to pick them up. We take pride in maintaining a beautiful, clean community, and we would like to call out to community volunteers. So if the 24 attendees that are listening in are in Stephenville, contact the town. We got a plan to clean it up. We'd like to call out community volunteers and organizations who are interested in lending a hand and joining in on the fun. And we've had, from Lions to Air Cadets to Beavers to Cubs. We've got a phenomenal beautification committee that we're coordinating through our Public Works and our staff. And through our communications department, Mary Lee will be communicating this fun activity to make Stephenville cleaner and greener. The other thing maybe you got something, Councilor?
We don't have a date yet for the cleanup.
No,
but the staff's working.
Staff's
right?
working.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah.
And it will be, I presume, it's going to be a weekend. And there'll probably be an alternate day in the event that in inclement weather, they might schedule for a Saturday. Inclement weather, it could be the Sunday, or the following week. So we'll let staff figure that out.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is with sadness, the passing of Councilor Don Gibbons' wife. Condolences to the Gibbon family. We want to extend and express our deepest condolences to the Gibbon family on behalf of the town of Stephenville. We are deeply saddened by the passing of Mrs. Gibbon, the beloved wife and mother of one of our dedicated firefighters and a former town councilor. Her contribution to our community and the support she provided to her family, who have served our town with such dedications, will always be remembered. Okay, any other comments on the new business before I call for adjournment?
Yes.
No, there's a motion. We're not getting past it this week.
Okay, so was this, did you have something on the new business?
Well, I got something, but did I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to let people know out there that Council and the Healthcare Action Committee, West Coast Healthcare Action Committee, 9 of our members, had a meeting with the big senior management team out of Western Health on Friday. And just want to mention a few items that was discussed, and one of them was the mammogram situation here. whereby the technologist resigned in April. And our citizens now from Cape St. George, all over the area, the whole area, have to go to Corner Brook to get their mammograms done. Now, the question was answered that the techs, I asked why could not a tech come out from Western, and was told that they were busy in moving from old hospital to the new one, and at this time, and they're checking into it and this kind of stuff. Also, they did say they're advertising for technologists, which I did see on their page that they're advertising for technologists. And at that meeting, one of those senior people mentioned in her talk of sharing services and things like that. And I had to say to her, well, you know, since the boards changed 4 boards in the 1980s, 89, or Councillor O'Brien would remember all that, 89, 90 or whatever, we were under Western Health Board. And I was in purchasing at the time. And everything changed, and not for the better. We were never, ever out on our inventory before. But once everything changed, things happened. And we were even told by someone at Western Health that we could adjust. And I said, no, you can't. There's no such thing as adjust. And that was one thing. And we never really got the support from the physicians to come out here and share our services. We did get some support. Some surgeons would come out and do surgeries, and we do have some support now. But again, they've taken away our anesthesiologist when he put in his resignation for 3 months, and they accepted it. Now, they have some ER doctors hired coming. And we were told, I asked the question, was it true? They were getting paid $100,000 a year for 2 years to come here, and it is true. But the anesthesiologist we had was looking for parity in with some of his colleagues in salary, and they accepted his resignation. So we had 2 surgeons here at one time, no anesthesiologist, and then it went reversed. So when the surgeon was here from South Africa for 2 weeks, doing surgeons, they sent out an anesthesiologist from Western. Lo and behold, it was our anesthesiologist who had resigned, and now he's working in there as a locum. And now he can't do pain management, and we're the pain management site for the region. Now, this is all true stuff. Now, we were told some good news that they have some new doctors like coming into ER, a nurse practitioner, and so on and so forth. But the news, in my view, as a councillor and as chair of the healthcare committee, there's a lot more good news got to come yet before I'm satisfied with all of this. Because every time I turn around, there's another story on the go. And the wait times, and the wait times all over the place. 18-hour wait in the health science center for someone a couple of weekends ago in my family. 18-hour wait. And then the other item is there's people outside saying, well, you know, we're finished. Once that new hospital is opened, they're turning our hospital into a long-term care center. Now, that rumor is on the go, and I want to tell people that is not going to happen because they can't handle us. And I was told that by the chief of medical affairs one time. We can't handle it. You can't do it.
Did they mean you now, or?
No, our hospital. our hospital. I said, you can't handle us. And that's right. There's a new chief of medical affairs, a doctor out of Western. So I don't know him very well, but he's going to know me soon pretty well because I'm going to be calling him again. But, you know, it really irks me that we can't get cooperation from other. And when I mentioned the fact about doctors from Western coming out, surgeons, and doing surgeries out here, share the OR, because having been in the system for over 30 years, I know that they have to fight for OR time sometime. And if they could come out and use our beautiful ORs we got here, they wouldn't have the long wait for their patients,
And the other thing,
you know?
unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that meeting, but with the mammograms, for example, we've got all the equipment here. The technicians in Corner Brook, I'm sure, are flat out, but probably a large percentage of their flat out is from this region. And if they're caught up in getting ready and trying to move and all that, now I'm sure that's not the technicians that are trying to move, because they're not going to be required to do that stuff. Wouldn't it make more sense as they are getting things ready to move to have the technicians work out here? Same with OR. Right now, the government's got a program where they're sending teams, like they just had a team up in St. Anthony, for example, for a week to do surgeries. They send the anesthesiologist and the surgeon and so on, and they do so many.
I'm wondering,
Why
can I
can't
intervene for a minute, Councillor Fowler? When you said that about the orthopedic team,
Yeah.
I was told by a government senior official that he's been trying to get that team to come out here.
Yep.
And Western won't agree to it.
Yeah, and they won't send their surgeons out here. Makes no sense, especially when they start to move.
Yeah.
They should all come out here.
But when it comes to mammograms, I mean, the workload on that department is certainly going to increase because I mean,
Yeah.
they just lowered the age requirement from 50 down to 40 when they recommend that the people start to get mammograms. So I mean, that's a big spread in that 10 years, which is also going to increase the workload and the need for mammograms.
Yeah.
Okay, so that file we have to stay on top of continually 24/7 because it is important. So,
Just make a comment. I mean, I said it again the other day to Councillor Elder. In that meeting with the health doctors, really assertive and really representing the town really well.
absolutely, she always does. Yeah. So we have a notice of motion, and just for clarity, so Councillor Brown, you have a notice of motion on the agenda. This has been clearly communicated with the clerk. Okay, that can be for your motions, the appropriation of these motions to go as motion.
I made notice of motion back at, I think, 3 public council meetings ago, although there's not a requirement in making the notice of motion that a member of council will be making the motion at the next public meeting, although there's no requirement to say what the motion is. Out of respect for council, I did give you all copies of what the motions were going to be.
So
So
just for clarity, was it at one point, was it this motion or this file that, Mr. Ramsey, that you were going to check to see if it
We
was
just
appropriate?
expected to the whether there was a conflict from the motions versus the municipal act.
Yeah.
It's not clear that there's a problem with it in any way, shape, or form. My discussion with municipal affairs to that effect. So really, it's up to council to decide if there is an issue with any of these motions themselves.
So we'll have to see if it'll be seconded, because it must be seconded after the motion. And then obviously question, debate, discussion, and then a vote will be called.
So
So
here, 3 separate motions. Each one can be put forward by the mover, and then he deal with them individually.
So do you have the motion framed for
Well,
the read on?
yeah, you've got copies.
You can continue
Yep.
with motion number 1.
Okay, the motion number 1 was passed once and then rescinded by council. I think 2 public meetings back. But anyway, be resolved, the staff not act on the directions from any one member of council or council committee, but only act on the decisions of council. I so move.
Second.
Second, Councilor Dan Robert. Okay, discussion.
I
Councilor Mayor,
think,
Susan.
I said that, I think, when I read it first, that that's a directive of council anyway, that we don't interfere in operations. So to me, why do we need a policy if that's part of what we are given through our municipal training stuff? It doesn't make sense to me to have a policy.
But
Any other discussion? I just, second speak to. It doesn't make sense to me to put a motion on the table if something's already scripted in our municipal handbook, passed by municipal affairs in the legislation, and we've received all of our training. It's a waste of a motion. We have to follow it. It doesn't require a motion, so. We do have a motion on the table, and we do have a seconder, so I'll take back the gavel on that note.
Yeah.
So, if any other question, all in favor? Contra mine. Motion defeated.
Okay, the second one, be it resolved, no one member of council or committee of council to commit the town to the disposal of town assets or financial obligation without the prior approval of council.
Okay, moved by Councillor Tom O'Brien, seconder, by Councillor Maurice Hines, all in favor? Question or
Correct.
discussion?
No,
No, okay.
I didn't have a question, that was all.
Or question, I guess, is, are we currently allowed to do that?
Do what?
No, but can anyone assure me that it hasn't happened?
Not at all. But I'm saying if we're not allowed to do it, why would we create a policy? People have gone in and interrupted business too, but you're suggesting we don't really need a policy on that because we shouldn't be doing it, or we should. Well, to me, this is the same thing. Can't do it anyway, so why do we need policy on it?
Yeah, so just some clarity, I guess, the motion is, we have public assets.
Yeah,
Private operation, we have no private policies in a private organization that says any level of management or any employee or any union employee can actually sell an asset. And assets in the past that would be sold, that are assets of the town, would have to come through council.
and you do an
We've
option or
always done
something,
that.
yeah.
So that's a precedent. And, but I don't know if there's anything in the regs in our last management team that scripts that to say, but it's always been the way that no assets of this town could be dispersed or sold without the approval of upper management coming to council. And we've often done that for equipment that was old and 20 years old, had a shelf life, was no more good. You couldn't just sell it to somebody internally. It had to be public asset or public procurement. That's what you're getting at, right?
That's part of what I'm getting at. Just the process on how to dispose of it becomes official. What I'm saying is no one member of council or committee of council can commit the town to disposal assets or a financial obligation without prior approval of council. I won't get into names or examples because I don't want to draw any organization's names right into it. But I mean, it's been brought to my attention anyway that commitments have been made to organizations, and then that member of council went to the council table and sold it to council after they basically made the commitment. Then that shouldn't happen. So
I always thought that
anyway,
all assets that belong to the town, we're kind of like a board, I call it, because if in the government, the boards decide the assets to be put out on tenders or.
I think I'd like to redirect this to our CAO because we're a council, we're not involved with, I can't say I'm going to sell this to Kippers Community Council, go tell the CAO. Authority to do that. Nobody at this table. Staff has no authority to do that.
No.
Because anything the disposal of an asset would have to go to upper management, and upper management would then come to council. So should this be a motion?
Well, I'm just pulling up the part of the municipal handbook with reference to this, which is number 6.8 in the municipal handbook. Just let me find it here. Under 6.8, on the disposal of assets, the following is said.
And while we're looking at definition of asset, I don't know if this would come. Definition of asset could be cash or property, plant, and equipment, or receivable, or whatever. So I'm assuming that cover all that. Right? So I guess, let's use a hypothetical example. Can someone say, take something out of Public Works, sledgehammer, and give it to somebody?
Okay,
No, I got, like my asset, it's a lot of this stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, well, I hope not too.
For reference, under the in the municipal handbook published by the Municipal Affairs Government of Land says, under 6.8, disposal of assets. From time to time, councils may accumulate and acquire assets such as land, buildings, equipment, furnishings, and supplies that are surplus to their requirements and which may be sold or possibly exchanged for goods and services for the town. What the legislation says with reference to that is under section 201.1 of the Municipalities Act 1999, it states a council may by resolution sell real and personal property where A, the item or lot has a probable market value of more than $500 by public tender or public auction, advertised in not fewer than 2 conspicuous places in the municipality, and published in a newspaper having general circulation in the municipality where there is one, and B, the item or lot has a probable market value of less than $500, or where a public tender or public auction under paragraph A did not produce a purchaser by private sale. It references certain other documents related to it, but ultimately that's all that it says in the municipal handbook, which is basically if the valuation is under $500 or if an act of sale or advertising produces no result, council can then follow a process to get rid of it otherwise.
So
But they do not include cash, receivables, or inventory.
yeah, so here's one, I'll probably direct this to Councilor Roberts with your background also on this one. So there's a term called the materiality principle.
And you do an audit, that's correct.
Or not, that's items that are very low in value that from an asset perspective. But remember, everything we purchase in public works or our fire department or our engineering department, everything we purchase, goods and supplies, there's a lot of things that could have nominal values from $1 to $10 to $99 and whatever. The act clearly says items for a value of $500, but internal mechanisms, stores, nuts, bolts, grease, wrenches, all them things, we got to be very cognizant, and we have control measures on them so that they don't get misappropriated, if I could use that term. Would that be fair?
Oh, well, absolutely, just normal business management practice, you can do that. Additionally, the process of putting out requests for proposals or requests for expressions of interest in certain items. For example, one of the items is we have used bunker gear, which has no value to us because in our current circumstance, we have a professional fire department. We are precluded from using outdated equipment. That is of a lot of value to volunteer fire departments. Even though it has a value to them, to us, it's got less than $500 of value because it's a liability to us that we have to basically dispose of it or somehow get it to other fire departments that may be able to use it. So in those cases, it's probably where we would do an in-kind with just to provide it for that purpose. But in this case, what there's really nothing wrong with what the councillor has proposed, but we're guided by, regardless if it's a council motion that's deemed in any way, shape, or form to be in conflict with legislation, legislation prevails.
Yeah.
But in what you read out, they only refer to basic land, buildings, it's not referring to like asset, which include cash, your accounts receivable, your inventory, prepaid expense. That's all assets. What
that section read, from my understanding, it refers.
Real and personal property,
Right. Well, personal property would be probably receivable and
personal property.
like your cash. Well, personal property, that's not owned by it.
No,
And I guess from the ag perspective, the only
The
time,
definition's kind of weak in the down there, so that'll probably strengthen that there, right?
so really the only time that we play a role as a council is if something's being sold as an asset of the town, recommended by management over $500. Other than that, day-to-day management operations would have control over our prepaid expenses.
That's our internal control.
Internal control.
But that this here kind of strengthens what's in the
Yeah,
act.
it's all,
It enhances that, so
and really the act supersedes if we were.
on the capital part.
Yeah, and even directive of municipal affairs usually supersedes unless you're
Yes.
going to get into a
So
battle.
really, the motion is not required, really.
The motion strengthens what the town manager read it.
So we have a motion, we have a seconder,
Yes,
Second, yeah.
yes, a second.
okay, all in favor?
All right.
Just
Contrary, motion carried.
Okay, for motion number 3, be it resolved that council members' travel as well as other town travel expenses be recorded by name and for what purpose and approved separately from accounts payable and expense check listing.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, seconder.
So I'll second that.
Say it, second that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay,
Discussion.
I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, almost good discussion.
So I guess the person that probably have the most travel would be me, the mayor.
Not necessarily, but I guess
Most chances, the mayor travels more than I
Yeah.
guess. I would think that logical sense. So how it works now is that before I travel, council approves it. My travel, correct?
Yep.
To travel. And then we have pre-approved government guidelines for our meals. Staff books the airline tickets. Staff books the hotels. I just came back from Amsterdam on the World Energy Conference. Really, the only things that I'm claiming is the taxis from stuff like that. So once council approves, whether it's Councilor Aylward or Councilor O'Brien or Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler or Mayor Tom Rose, once it's approved that we're going, you're trying to say it should, right now it comes in an expense check listing and it'll show Tom Rose or Tom O'Brien or Susan Fowler. It's already showing. It's vetted through staff. Why would it be a separate item and come back to council for a vote? So if you approve, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Question?
Yeah.
I'm just going to understanding. So our policy in here that the staff would book everything?
Yes, yeah, normally the staff books, airline tickets.
Is that in policy? Is that written in policy? It's one of the many policies that we say we have a policy. We don't have any.
Okay,
policy.
so what is our, okay, unwritten or written procedure? Staff books everything for travel for
Yes, yeah,
all
so
our top management, and everything?
I
for
would say,
6 years since I've been the mayor, going into 7 year, town credit
So-
card, we have staff.
Who got this? You got that, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One, there's only one credit card. And one time back 20 years ago, councilors had credit cards.
Yeah,
We
true.
don't have credit cards now.
You did one time.
Geez, I never ever had one.
We had one.
A little bit of history lesson. You,
Well,
I went first one on council, there was credit cards,
Yeah.
and the chair of finance, I pulled them all back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, Barry.
So there's
there
there's
then.
no councilors, and there's only one credit card at the town, controlled by upper management and the clerk. Everything is
There's
pre-approved.
only one physical card?
But, yeah,
Only one card?
One card, that's it. So there's good control measures. Everything, like we have a meal allowance that follows the provincial meal allowance.
And just, there was a policy passed by council in 2022 it was October 2022. I just pulled it up this morning because I was doing up a claim for reconciling any of the expenses that I had along with my meal allowances and everything for the recent travel that I did. First time I've done any kind of reconciliation of it. The interesting part of what the counselor has proposed, a lot of municipalities post all of their travel of their counselors and their senior staff.
Yeah.
It's all posted, it's published on the website.
Anybody?
And that's not something I don't think any of us have a problem with. But whether it be approved after the fact,
No.
is problematic. I know there have been instances where people make commitments in certain circumstances because we are very limited. Like no one's carrying a credit card unless you carry one on your own. There's no town credit card and something comes up and you make a decision and you may wear some of those costs yourself if it's not provable by council. So those things have happened.
But right now, the travel turns up on the expense checklist.
Correct.
And it's approved.
And that's probably where it should be, but the whole thing should be published on the website.
And
in my opinion,
and if you're on the expense check listing for traveling, your name, you have to step away from the table. And be identified by the clerk on the expense check.
Yeah,
listing.
I'm not insinuating here that the expenses be denied. What purpose of this motion is to break out any and all travel for the town in a separate report so that it's quite clear to everyone what was spent on travel. Yeah. So people don't have to pick through the expense check listing
when they're looking for the mayor's
to find any travel. Well, you mean when I was the mayor, you mean, and I'm certain you're aware of this, Mayor Rose, you mean this request came in, an ATIP request on my travel when I was the mayor, and certainly when the people got the response on how much travel I'd done, the issue went away because they were disappointed. I mean, under openness and transparency, I'm saying we should do a separate report. It's going to get approved anyway. It's going to get approved anyway. Just a separate report under openness and transparency.
So a separate report and expense check listing, because it can't be a separate motion.
Okay, I think maybe what we can do.
You should go back to finance.
Yes, we can ask the chair of
chair
of our committee of finance. We can make a request of finance committee that any travel has the supporting documentations attached to the listing.
Attached to
our listing, we get expense listing. Say if it was you paid the credit card was I don't know, Visa or whatever, the Visa, we would have all the supporting documentation attached to the expense listing at finance.
Yeah, that's perfect, because you got to remember, if any member of the community or outside the community wants to check any expense in the town of Stephenville, they do an ATIP and they get provided those documents.
Yeah.
Clearly what we've been doing is for openness and transparency, and we've been very open. If Councillor Roberts or Councillor Aylward or anybody had an expense check listing from a pre-approved travel, it was on the expense check listing, their name was listed, and when the vote came for that, we used to have to step off from the table.
Although again, there's a discrepancy there which is irrelevant to that. I'd say it's relevant to that. Is that reimbursement does not constitute a gain for the individual.
No.
Therefore, not have to step away from the table, voting on the expenditure for which they.
Yeah.
No, nor should they have to step away from the table. They travel with the pre-approval council.
Correct.
So you mean the actual approval expenses, whether it's on a separate report or on the accounts payable or expense check listing, is just completing the overall process.
And I think we can.
That to me, that's the finance committee.
But anyway, Mr. Mayor, you mean I would agree to send this back to finance?
Yes.
For discussion?
Yes, please.
Because, I mean, and during this discussion and the mention of visa and all that stuff, I mean, we've been here 3 months now, and I haven't seen any payments on the accounts payable or expense checks listing for visa. So I mean, I think the visa statement should also be passing through.
We do that for finance.
But anyway, that's
Bill-
it for me for today.
Want to just say that some of these
Go ahead.
some of these policy motions, notice of motions seem to be based on stuff that happened, that bothered you, that happened before you were elected, because these things aren't happening right now. So I just want to point out again, which I pointed out in the beginning, that sometimes check your sources, because what you're being told by some people, whether they were here or not, may not be as fully accurate as, so for me, if it's happening while we're here, then it makes sense to make a motion or whatever, but some of it, I think you're marking what you think.
I think we should just.
Can we ask for a motion? Need a motion to defer this motion by Councilor Dan Roberts, second Councilor O'Brien.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Deferred. Okay. If there's nothing left, I'm gonna,
Myra,
So moved.
oh, I'm gonna call.
Myra wanted to say something.
No, I'm good.
Somebody, oh, I need the gavel. Hold on. Somebody
Tell
want to
them
say
that
something?
Steve
before we
Johnson.
call?
No.
No, we're good.
So
to
moved.
go.
Moved by Councilor Tom O'Brien, second by Councilor Myra White.
That's one
Meeting
motion.
adjourned.
That's one motion. You're never gonna trouble getting it.
Especially where Eric, so good.
I'm gonna fool you guys at one of these days.
It's another hand.
Take care of my friend.
It's 2 hours.
What?